Alright guys, I think we're live. We're gonna do a special After Effects thing today. And this is the first time we set up audio and stuff on this computer, so I have no idea if this is gonna work right. So let me know if the desktop audio is too loud or the mic's too loud. And we'll get started. Breathe away.
Oh, in the chat room. Okay, got it.
What's going on? You got the chat. Yeah, you got the chat room over there. So Chris is going to be on the chat room behind me. You can actually probably see him in the webcam again today.
There I am.
And so this is the little pencil test that Chris did, all colored. Can do a RAM preview of that. And this is all
pink.
All very pinkish. We may be color correcting on this one. So I'm going to kind of take you guys through the process of how I get this into After Effects. And then I haven't started anything yet today, so we'll start doing the whole process here. So I'm going to open up the old Flash MX. And I'm going to lose video because it's that old.
I can still see.
Alright, so open Final Export. Alright, so inside the symbol is everything that Chris had put together, and he put it on a bunch of different layers for me. So now when I went to go export it, I actually made the work area much bigger to work in, so we have some room to do a little bit of camera shake or any of that stuff.
Got a subscriber already.
Alright.
Raking them in.
So I'll show you what I have to do to get it to there. So I guess we'll just pick a layer. And I have everything guided right now, so nothing would show up when you make an export. And I like to export PNGs. I know people use Swifts. I've used to do that. We've had a couple of bad problems with it, so I'm gonna just stick with PNGs for now. So now I go outside, and this layer is just the rock character, so I want him separated. So I would make a PNG sequence, and I have a whole folder system where I would put everything in here and make all my PNGs. But I did that earlier today and got everything set up in After Effects. So I'm going to close Flash for now. And we're going to go into After Effects. So I imported all of those PNG sequences, and you can see them all right in here, and had to put them in layers. And then this morning I went down to the local beach and shot some footage of the close-up of the sand. And I did lose. Shoot, I lost all my video now that I opened that Flash. Oh well. Alright, so
Like, I can't see the video?
Well, I could see my preview, but now I can't.
No. Okay.
That's all right.
Gotcha.
But I ended up stabilizing a little bit too because it was a little bit shaky. We could do that in another. That was a real crude stabilizing. So, and I brought everything in on top of it.
Oh.
Hey,
what's up?
How's it going, Biker Man?
Haven't seen you before, Biker Man. Are you new?
I think he's been here before. I think I remember. Yeah.
I feel like I remember Biker Man.
I think we've had a Biker Man before. So, I'm going to go into, let's see. I'm going to start doing show you our lighting effect we're doing. I'm trying to think. The lighting's kind of coming from behind a bit, so we might fake it a bit. So I'm going to start with just the one rock character. And I'm going to make this a different color so we can see what we're working with. The rock color will be purple. So,
Oh.
new angle. You get the whole 360 of the office here.
We got or 180. But the other half's not great either. Okay, Biker Man. That's watching.
All right. So, what I just did is duplicated the rock character 3 times real quick. Now, the second rock, I am going to actually do an effect called Generate Fill. I'm going to turn the whole thing a color, and I'm probably going to go with an orangish yellow, and we'll see how that works.
Different angle. Yeah. That's from Bob's perspective.
So, I am now going to use the third layer up top here as my alpha matte. So I'm going to alpha matte up, and this way I can move this one around a bit and do certain things like that to move it around. So now if I am to multiply this on there, I have a bit of a shadow real quick, and I'm just using the layer above it as the alpha channel. So I'm gonna do some things to that, and I might make it a little darker.
Let's see, we got some Corbin. Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Hey guys.
This is weird. It's disorienting.
This is very disorienting. I'm gonna go with an orange still, but I'm gonna make it more of a like an orange burn shadow on that. Maybe even a little bit blue actually. Dull it out. So now what I normally do to this too is I'm gonna put, let's see which one I usually do this with. I'm gonna do an effect in matte. It's called Simple Choker. It's a real neat little thing. It's pretty simple. And you can choke anything that you have, which is kind of nice if you want to take some stuff off. The other cool thing is you can actually, if I took off this alpha, if you have to, you can actually go reverse negative and make something bigger if you need to. So that's a cool idea if you need to make a black outline thicker. There's a lot of those old shows that had like the outline was thicker on a character. So if I wanted to, let's say generate this, we'll show you this real quick. I'm gonna make that black, and I'm gonna throw that behind, and now we can actually go negative Simple Choker and make the outline on the character thicker if we wanted to do such a thing. Make it kind of look like those old 90s cartoons. And just like that, that way you can keep the line. You don't have to do it in Flash, which would be a real pain.
You think they did that for Fairly Odd Parents or something?
Oh, probably not back then. No, they probably just did that on a cell, and that was that. So let me put this back in. Let's do the Simple Choker back to 0. Put this here, and I'm gonna give it like a bluish gray tint to it. So now I'm trying to think. Yeah, this I'm gonna Simple Choke like this, and this is gonna be my shadow layer. And now I can actually move that shadow down a little, and I might want to keep the light source from back in the back left. And now I can also put a blur effect on it real quick. And I used to use, I guess it's Gaussian blur now is the fastest one.
Is there a way to reshape the alpha?
Is there? Because sometimes it doesn't work too well as a shadow because of some sharp edges.
Like, could you mask that? You would have to mask them.
I guess the sharp edge, I guess I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna blur this now so we don't have the sharp edge alpha matte and do it like that. I guess, is there a way to reshape the alpha? No, you could, I guess you could put a Simple Choker on the alpha too. I do sometimes to help. Let's do a color burn. Oh, thanks for, what's that, Flip Master?
Yeah,
Flip the Master?
Flip the Master.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, I'm going to just play around with a couple of overlays right now, modes. I'm trying to see which one works best. I guess probably linear burn I use a lot for the shadows, and I drop it somewhere around, we'll go 40% and see what that looks like. So now if we go back and look at it on there, we can see it has a little bit of a shadow. And I'm not too thrilled with, I think I'm going to take down the blur a bit. Make it about, let's make it about 20% on that blur. And I might want to change the color of it a little bit and make it a little bit more red. Since we're in that pink, since we went so pink with this one, we'll keep it. Alright, let's see what that looks like.
I agree with Biker Man.
Yeah.
You have to.
Well, there's a lot of passionless there's a lot of passionless projects out there.
Yeah.
The good thing about a small studio is they have to be short and small projects, and that way you get through it a lot faster.
Things are over in a week.
Might blur that a little more. All right, now we'll see if we want to put a highlight on this too. So I'm also gonna duplicate the rock character 2 more times. I'm gonna use it as an alpha again, and this time I'm going to alpha invert and go the opposite way. And I'm gonna put this on add, and I'm actually gonna move the alpha channel a bit. And I'm gonna put a blur on that, soften. I gotta see which one I gotta soften.
I'm located in New Jersey. I'm trying to start a 2D cartoon. Start up a cartoon company, or just make a 2D cartoon for Flip the Master? And we're doing great, Corbin.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's just a cartoon or a studio. So, let me get this a little thinner, and we're gonna put these two, I'm gonna just recolor so we know what's going on here. Try to keep my project somewhat clean. So these 2 layers are the shine, these 2 layers are my shadow. Shimmer and shine. Another gem. Thank God my daughters did not get into that one too long at all.
I'm glad I dodged those bullets myself.
So let's see how that looks. Alright, so it's got a little bit of shadow on. Now the other thing we could do in the whole outside is color correct this a bit. We can do some, I like to color correct with curves a lot. It's just easier, you can kind of see what you're doing.
I'm gonna grab this link from this guy.
What's up?
Check it out. I had to...
Kind of darken Chris's colors a little bit to get it to fit in a little better.
Was pretty light.
I also tried to color correct the footage a little bit quick to match his more.
I'm checking out what's it called here?
Is that Flip the Masters?
Flip the Masters.
Let's check it out.
Cartoon. Cartoon from Lee Engerstein or Stein. Bring a world full of silly dudes and kids.
Cool. Alright, so that looks good for now. We can kind of apply that to everything. Might take the blur down a little bit on that one again.
Oh, those are nice colors.
Alright, so we have all of our other characters we're going to apply this to as well. So we'll make the Froggy character green. And we're going to just I'm going to copy all these effects that I used for the last one, paste them to my middle one, and I'm going to alpha matte that to the one above it. And I'm going to put that on a linear burn as well. And I'm going to drop that down to, I'll do 35, 40 is good. And I'm going to move it down a hair. Then I'm going to duplicate. Actually, you know what I can do is another cool trick. Is I'm going to duplicate the shine of the rock character. I'm going to pull that up above Froggy here. I'm going to change these colors to seafoam.
First, then import the layers.
Yes. We imported all these in from Flash. And everything's a PNG sequence. Each layer has its own PNG sequence. And you can see here we have all the layers. So I have a file, a PNG sequence here called Froggy Character. So I duplicated my rock character highlight. And now if you hold Alt down and just drag over top of something that's selected, you can replace it. And so now I replaced the frog right over top of the rock highlight. Now let's see here. Alrighty, and let's see how he looks on there. Yeah. Alright, so he's in there. Now, I kind of like that same thing again, so I'm going to do, we have a rock character overlay that was just a little section, which I might actually, let's think here. So Chris made an overlay layer for me here of the rock going in front of the frog. But instead of trying to put the shadow on that and match it, I'm actually going to take all of Froggy here and I'm going to comp him. And I just select all the layers and put it in a new composition. And I'm going to call it Froggy character. And I'll make that green so we remember. And now I've got the overlay. I'm just going to alpha invert, and that will delete everything from that. So let's make sure that worked. All right. That was only a couple frames. Now we have Krabby Rock. So I am going to actually just duplicate all of the rock character again, pull it up to above Krabby Rock, and I'm just going to replace all those layers by holding Alt and dragging it down. And now we have all the same effects again, and it just went right over top of it. So I'm just going to do that again for sword. Let's see, we don't need that layer anymore. I'm going to turn these colors to something else, so we know. We'll make those orange. We'll make this blue. So I'm going to replace Krabby again. I'm going to duplicate these, move it up, replace that with the sword PNG. Make that blue. Alright, so we've got the sword moving in the air. Now we need the little Link character. And we're going to duplicate this again. And we're going to pull that PNG sequence down with Alt and replace everything there. He's got his. And then this is an effects layer, which we're going to leave alone. We're going to put something else on that, I think. Make this character Peach. And
oh yeah, the new yeah, we did hear about that. That was all over our Facebook feed. The Cuphead Netflix thing.
I never got to actually. We haven't seen what it's going to look like though, right?
No,
it's just
I don't
announced.
know if they have anything yet. That'll be a curious. I'll be curious about that.
No, to see if they can uphold the same. I mean, well, somebody said it took almost a decade to make the game. I can't imagine the show being able to create.
Labor-intensive kind of. Yeah, I think they'll probably get the way they did the Mickey Mouse treatment, kind of with.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's what I from the cheap seats here.
All right, so that's kind of with all the shadows on it now, which I think kind of, and darkening it up kind of makes it fit in that background a little bit better. All right, I'm going to show you an effect we use a lot. We use it a lot in Flex Caliber.
That's so cool.
All right, so was the shine always that see-through? It wasn't like a bright white?
I did do it see-through just so I could see, but if you want to...
No, I'm going to put... Which one do we use a lot? We're going to try... We use a lot of Red Giant plugins, and we use... Let's see here. Where is all my stuff? It's been a while since I've been in here. Trap code. We use a lot of trap code stuff, so we're going to put the Star Glow on this current settings. Maybe we'll do it to the alpha. Is this not working? Maybe because it's too see-through.
You want me to make it
No, it's
solid for a second?
I can probably do that quick and we could try. Oh, did we get
another
new
one.
subscriber?
Let's see.
Are these on 2s? What did you animate this mostly?
Some of it's on
all
1s, some
over
of
it.
it's on 2s. There's a hold on top when he's in the air biting the frog on 3s. It's a very mixed bag. But it's all on the same chart, so everything's moving at the same exact rate.
Alright, what else do we use? Let's see, stylize. Put a bit of a, we'll try glimmer. Will that work on it? Without crashing? Alright, we'll do glimmer. And there's some shine. So let's do something golden. Golden looks good. And I might actually
Can't do that in the action.
yeah, no, you can't do that. And I don't know much about Toon Boom either. How much you can do in. All right, so I'm gonna take that layer out, and I'm gonna bring that layer into here. And this way I can add it on, put it through an add. And let's see what that does if we have it that shiny. Might be a little bit much. Kind of goes with the. I think if we put a lens flare in there, it's gonna be. It'll go pretty well.
That'd be cool because like the sun's behind them, or behind us. That makes sense. That's cool.
Yeah, looks good. Just coming together here.
There we go.
Done. That's Riverhead for you.
Oh yeah, I like that a lot.
So much more. But yeah, when you see what it originally looks like, and like just the when we showed on Twitter before, just the basic colors, it doesn't look good at all. It needs a lot of loving.
No, when I first saw it, I was like, uh-oh. It's like pink was a bad choice.
So, I'll show you now too. We can put them. I think I'll do it in this layer. There's a really cool plugin. I'll try to do it without this plugin too to show you how I would do it without the plugin. It's a little bit more time consuming, but this plugin from Red Giant is really awesome too. We're gonna go to Image Lounge, and it's called Real Shadows, and it's a slick little thing. It might not work well on this one anyways because of all the, but you can actually have the shadow underneath like that. And I'm not liking how that's gonna go. So what I think I'll do is we could do this inside since we separated every layer. But what you can do is, it's really neat. You can soften it.
Little stiff rock. How's it going? You see me in the back? Sometimes. Oh, you know me. You know me, Andrew.
Is Andrew here?
I think so. Yeah. He is.
All right.
We've shared hotel rooms. You understand why I run hot.
All right, so I'm gonna use this real shadow thing because it's gonna save a lot of time. The only other way I would think of, I'll show you how I would do it without that plugin, is I would most likely take that whole comp again. We could take curves off of it. I would probably do an effect we'll do corner pin, so you could distort it. Corner pin, and let's see what would happen if I scale this. Like that. And I would do something like this. I'd generate a fill on this.
We'll see you soon, Biker Man. I think we're going to do a Twitch tomorrow, too, if you want to join us. Back to blood kind of stuff. If we have time.
And I would corner pin this a bit. Kind of get that same effect. And then we could blur this.
Oh, Corbin wants to know
what's
what we're working on. We have a few projects. I'm helping out our friend Michael Gordon, who does indie games. We're helping out some friends at Titmouse on a project we can't really talk about yet. And we have some other stuff in the down the pike that could start in the middle of this. We're kind of last line of defense on some of these.
So I would comp this. Let's move all attributes in it. We'll just call shadow test. Just kind of showing you how I would treat a shadow if I didn't have that plugin. Could really blur that out. And then you could just mask it quick. We could do it quick and dirty here with a mask and just feather that. Something like that, and that's how we could do a quick dirty shadow test. I can multiply that and it would give them a little bit of shadow on the ground. But what I'm gonna end up doing, since we separated everything, is I'm gonna bring everybody into this one. Bring my whole PNG sequence underneath. So if I turned it off, you'd see that. What is a typical workflow time on an animation like this from start to completion?
It took about 3 days to animate, like 1 day per character. About 6 or 7 hours on each character. So 21 hours for the animation, and then
I mean, we could probably After Effects could probably be finished in 2 hours if we were doing not even kind of moving slowly today. So I'm gonna put that image line effect on all of these. I do real shadows, and I'm gonna do shadow. I'm gonna select shadow only and clipping avoided. All right, so I'm gonna work with just, let's see, the sword we're gonna put up top. Crabby. We don't need that layer. Lonk goes on top. Rock character overlay, we don't really need. Just the rock, froggy, and all that. Okay, so I'm gonna turn these back on. And we'll start with Lonk. And let's see how this works. Let's see what this would look like. So I'm gonna make the shadow go this way a little. Kind of match the shadows that are on the rocks and what they're doing. We're not real sticklers here. We have no idea what we're doing about lighting ever.
No.
It's not our forte. Getting things done fast is our alright, let's go somewhere around 50. I'm gonna make the softness around there. We're gonna fade it out. And we're gonna put it on multiply. And so I'm gonna copy that, and I'm gonna put that on the sword. We're gonna do that one like this. Did none of that copy over? I guess it did. It's just not as. I'm gonna make it softer. I'm gonna make it lighter. I'm gonna put that on multiply as well. Just put all these on multiply. So I am going to change the color to something a little more red too to match better. I think that looks better. So we'll take that color. We're going to do the same thing for this guy. Alright, we're going to put that on the rock character. We're going to move his up to match him better without crashing After Effects, hopefully. That's
cool.
Alright. So he's at 50. I'm going to make that 75%, make that a little darker. Might even do 90. Since he's a big, hefty rock. that. Alright, I tried to hit RAM preview. I don't even think it listened to me. It's not liking this project already. Alright, so Froggy, we're gonna do the same exact thing.
Just remember our thesis is how, like,
I can't
you
believe
can do one thing, right?
we got our thesis done.
Well,
with the technology.
Did you had to scan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scanned in paper, one by one.
I
Then we
had
brought
Cody-
it into Photoshop, darkened the line, fixed any holes.
I had Cody doing my bidding, and I was animating his game. So I was never a help during post. like my whole career.
Post was not your.
That's not my thing.
Alright, so we have a sword layer. We're going to copy that. We're going to make that 75 as well. And we'll give the sword layer a little bit of a shadow too. And let's see if the shadow, what that shadow looks like. Alright, let's see if we can get a little bit of a RAM preview going. It's probably going to take quite a while. But, I mean, I think already they're starting to fit into that background more. Oh, Lauren's here. Thanks for joining us, Lauren.
Hey!
We're in the middle of doing some After Effects finally. Alright, this RAM preview will take the rest of our lives. But I think that shadow is working pretty good. Cool. Alright, so I'm thinking what we might want to do is put a little bit I'm going to put all these guys together. Again, in a whole nother file. Characters and shadows. That guy has nothing left in the back of his truck, by the way.
Jalopy going up.
I'm gonna comp all this. So I start to get comp crazy after a while. So I'm gonna call this characters and shadows. And I'm gonna, now if I let that pass through, is that gonna do that well still? We'll see. May not work well. I don't know if I'm gonna want to put it in the comp. Whenever I do a collapse layer, I always run into issues, but we'll try it and see what happens. Alright, so I'm gonna make a little tiny, I'm just gonna make a solid layer as a mask, call it mask. Just gonna put it on 0% for right now. We might try a little bit of, put a little bit of sand in front of the characters. Put the characters down to like 50% too, so I can see what I want to do here. We might want to get a little bit. Try to mesh it in a bit. Just do a little mask. Real crude. Oh, and I did that on the wrong layer, so cool. So I copied that and pasted it on the mask layer. And you know what I might do next is I might just do it to... Alright, so let's alpha invert this. And now we can go in and we can take this mask
So neat.
and we're gonna feather it quite a bit here, and maybe not too much. We'll try like 5 and see what that looks like. That looks like a little something. And now I might try 8. Let's see what that looks like. I'm wondering if that's the best way to do it. So I'm going to take this mask and I'm going to use it again. Let's see here. If I put this under... This may not be the best way to do this. Let me think about this. Let me comp all my footage. I'm going to call this footage loop. Alright, that's my footage loop. I am actually going to use my mask with the footage and put that in front. I'm going to take this color correction, put it on the comps so they match, and get rid of that for now.
So
this is how we work sloppy.
Shade the characters individually with everything.
No,
was,
everything's in
colored
After
in
Effects.
Flash, but the shadow thing Bob just did in After Effects.
Here, I'll show you the comp with just those again quick. Let me turn off the background. I'll just show you one of the characters. So we'll start with the rock. The rock was this color when we started. We duplicated the rock and we put a shadow on him. We used another layer. We used the rock again as the alpha matte. Now this way I can put effects on the PNG sequence. I fill it to like a purple color. I put it on multiply or linear burn. I put a Gaussian blur on it to help kind of mask it out. Otherwise it would be that sharp. You could do that sharp too if that's a look you're going for. But I'm gonna go back to about 25. And then you can multiply that layer over it. And then we just put another layer of the same thing on add and had the highlight layer on it. And then we did that for every single character. So let me go back to here. And I have this. We can move this comp up a hair if we want. We can take this down. How did we animate? Was that what? I guess I'm not sure. Was the? I mean, the characters were all animated hand by hand. So if this rock character was animated hand by hand, you know, by hand frame drawings here, and then we imported the PNG sequence. Then I just used that same layer here. So if I took these effects off, you would just see it's the same layer again. And use that as the shadow. So we've got our footage on top and on bottom to give it a little bit of something here.
I mean the shadow.
It's
all the
all
stuff that
done in
the
After
feathered
Effects.
shadow was done in Flash.
The only other problem we're gonna have here is I'm trying to think about the best way to do this because we're gonna lose that. We might have to do it to the. There's never a good way. We're gonna lose our shadows behind that, so we can't quite do that. We might have to. Sorry guys, I'm trying to think of the best way to not lose my shadow right now. We might have to not do this. We might not, can't have an overlay, I guess, because we'll lose all of the. Could do. could put this on this guy, maybe. Let's try this. Alpha invert it in here. And then we'll do it inside this comp. So now we can lose those two. We'll still have our shadows a bit. And it still looks like something. Let's see. Alright, so we still have our shadows. Oh, we are going to lose his... We're going to have to figure out... When he jumps down, we're going to lose his sword a bit. So we're going to have to... Sounding good out there.
Someone's got it all together.
Let's see if this... Take the feather down on that one more time, too. Now, let's see if we lose any of the characters because of our mask. Otherwise, I'll have to do this to... inside layers. Yeah, we are. So, what we're going to do is we'll take that, we'll go inside here. I'm going to make a lot of comps again. So we're going to comp the Lonk character. We're going to comp the sword. We're going to comp the crab rock.
Have you guys thought about? We missed him. Have you guys thought about? If the right project came along, I mean, I suppose we would have to. I guess we've been offered bigger jobs and we never did. So I don't know if we would consider expanding. I always had a dream of having 4 or 5 animators, but the jobs are so inconsistent. At least for us. I'm sure if we got bigger, maybe we'd get more consistent jobs.
Alright, so I lost my mask, so I'm going to make another one real quick. But they're saying you could put the shadow on the ground more to the right, like the rocks around it, without losing the mask. So I'm going to take my new mask here, bring it into my characters. I'm just going to put it on this rock character, alpha inverted. Okay. Feather that around 3. See what that looks like. Move it up a little. I'm gonna do the same thing for... Oh, I'm probably not gonna want to do it for this one either. We'll have to see. I forgot the crab comes out, right? We'll lose him a little. Let's see what we got here. We don't want to lose too much of that crab. So we'll do some of that. So we'll alpha invert this. And we'll see what that looks like. Someday. Alrighty, so it gives a little bit where we take some of the black line off a little bit here and there. So now what I'm going to mess around with is we're going to put some blurs. Going to give it that tilt box feeling. Save that quick. Put a adjustment layer. I'm going to call this blur. Foreground. And I think I'm just going to go with the Gaussian blur. Gonna make this a bit bigger so we have some room to mess around with. Make it 1600. Okay. All right, repeat edges. Let's see. We'll go somewhere around 25. Now I'm gonna do a little bit like this. I'll do a couple of these to slowly fade it in. So I'm gonna feather this. Let's do 50. What does that do? Maybe we'll do 75. So what I will do is I will bring this one down to about 15, maybe 10, and I'm gonna duplicate it. And then I'm just going to extend that mask up a little more. So we kind of get a gradual little cheat here. And I'll do it one more. And move that up. Kind of match what was going on in the footage that we shot. We could probably drag those all down a bit. We'll put that at about 8. 8, and we'll leave that other one at 10. Alright, and we might put one, we'll make a whole new blur. We'll make a blur for the background. Somewhere around, let's see here. Make it bigger. I like to keep all my blurs bigger so it blurs everything. Gaussian blur, repeat edges. And let's see here, we're going to kind of do the same thing for the background. Let's start with around there. That's it. We'll put that at 15. We're going to feather that to about 75. Make this a different color so we know. I'm going to duplicate that. Extend the mask a little. Get that about 10 blur. And I'm going to do one more. Give that a little bit of a blur. So what I might do is move the front ones down here so it's not so affected. Alright, so we've got our little character here on the beach footage we shot this morning. And this project's getting none too happy about it. Alright, I think that's
new
looking good.
perspective. Cody, you've seen that.
Cody,
angle
you've
before.
seen
You've seen that angle every morning.
Alright, so I think we can put in, I think might help this is we might put in a little bit of a lens flare. I love the lens flares we got in the Red Giant package, which I can't stress enough is if you guys do a lot of After Effects, get everything from Red Giant. It's a huge time saver. Alright, so let me save this because sometimes this crashes my After Effects. So we're gonna go to Stylize. I love they have a light factory and you can kind of pick a ton of different They have a bunch of different flares to choose from. They have a lot of natural light ones, pretty cool looking for daytime. Kind of works for what we're doing here. I might make the flare a little bigger. Now, if I put that on ad, that's going to be it. Alright, so I think we'll call that lens flare. So if I ever come back into this, I know what I was doing. So we might give this a slight little move, although if we wanted the loop.
I mean, you
We
have done that
we
in the
have, but
past.
we really just kind of use it for compositing a lot now. Building out a character and rigging it in After Effects we usually never work on a project for more than, I mean, a couple of weeks. So spending 2 weeks getting it all set up would just be pointless for us. So that's the light location. I'm gonna flare brightness. I might just animate the flare brightness a little bit.
That's on time too.
Perfectly on time. Now I'd like to see what this lens flare is doing, actually. I have no clue. And that's a typical day in Riverhead. Yeah, we'll let this go by, but I mean, they couldn't make it any more epic. But yeah, we always use Flash for all of our animation purposes.
Like character animation.
Yeah, I would never really character animate in After Effects much more. The 2D rigging, yeah. I mean, I worked on a lot of shows in After Effects starting out in New York City. A lot of Nickelodeon shows. They were some of the craziest rigs I've ever seen. But the thing is, those rigs, people would come in almost 6 to 8 months before the show started making the rigs. No, we would never do 2D rigs for facial, not in After Effects. It's just too much going in and out of programs. It just becomes more of a problem than a help. Once you start adding too many things to the process, it becomes harder. You're just making it harder on yourself in the end. And we just draw a lot.
We're small teams,
yeah.
and we never have to pass it off on anyone but ourselves. So
I'm gonna put another lens flare in here since it's so bright. Let's see which one I like here. I want one with a little bit of the actual camera effect here. Maybe this one looks pretty good. Yeah, there we go. Just want a little bit of that over top to kind of help hide some of our mistakes here. All right. So I think they're fitting in there a little bit better than when we started. what I might do too is go into the characters and shadows. I might just put let's see here. What happens if I duplicate this? Put a blur on this. And I'm just going to use the lower half. Give it a little bit of a blur to work it up a little better. Let's see what that looks like. Kind of match the background a little more. All right, we've got our lens flare. We've got everything we want in there. So I'm going to take, let's turn on our overlay. All right, something we might want to try. If my computer doesn't crash. Might be kind of interesting. Since this is getting so bright, let's try this. Let's do Control Y. We're going to make a new solid. I'm going to kind of pick like an orangish, bright orangish yellow. Okay, I'm gonna make a shape out of this around this size, feather that. All right, now that I'm gonna call light. I'm gonna pull that down over top of our footage. I'm gonna give the whole background a little bit of a light source one, and then we'll go in and do that to the character too, since this gets so bright. I'm gonna also set my thing to half res right now since it's taking forever. So we'll put that to half res, move this down a little. Gonna scale this to be a little more like that. So I'm gonna start with 0% opacity on that. And kind of just watch what the shimmer is doing. So we're gonna start at 0. We'll get up to maybe, let's see if 75 is too bright. Maybe 50.
That's neat. I just turned my head and it looks so much cooler. Wow, that's really neat.
Then we'll drop it back down to 0 as it goes away.
That's really cool.
I'd love to see what this looks like, but we'll
do it next week when they're rendered.
After RAM preview. All right, I'm gonna try to RAM preview that quick.
Let's see. Whoa.
Sound, yeah.
Whoa.
And I think we'll
It's
put
like
a little.
in the old Pixar days when they had to render something. Wow, that's cool.
I think we'll put that over top of the characters too.
The
that's
yellow
pretty
shine.
cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Wow.
That looks good. Makes the shadows pretty epic too. So I want to do. I'm gonna keep this timing. I like that. Since this is such a messy project, I'm gonna go in. I don't want to do it to the shadows, so I only want to do it to these guys. Let me paste this in here and just turn it off so we know the timing of it. I'm gonna do another version of these characters. I'm going to generate a fill, actually. Effect, generate fill. I'm going to pick that same orangish color. Going to put it on as an add. Or maybe, let's see, overlay. Overlay looks a little better, actually, a little more golden. So what we'll do, or you know what, we can actually just do, might be best to do, we're just going to make a solid. We're going to make a solid that color. Or I guess we could just use this one, take the mask off, actually. Take that mask off. We're going to just use the animation as our alpha. Make this normal. And make this overlay. And let's see what it looks like at 100%. Now maybe if we do add now. No, that's a little much. We'll do overlay. Or sometimes I like hard light. I just kind of mess around with all the different options we have. Kind of see what looks best. Maybe I'll do overlay and go a little more than 50%. We'll go 75. 75. So now if I go back out to my comp with everything, they all have that golden glow on them now too. So let's try this.
Do you use adjustment layers?
Yes, I use a lot of adjustment layers. Hundreds. So that's what that looks like.
That's really cool.
I use them a lot in adjustment layer. Like right here, I do them for blurs a lot, so you don't affect a layer usually. I usually use them for like adjusting the background colors and stuff too. So I'm gonna bring this whole comp. So we have Tiny Town all. I'm gonna bring into here. So now this is actually all cut off. So we left ourselves a lot of extra space. Let me make this comp the right size. So it's 143 frames. All right, let's keep this at half res too, so we know. Now what I might do, we could scale it back a little since we have so much extra space. Maybe we'll go like 90, 95 for now. All right, so what I'm gonna add is an adjustment layer. I'm gonna call this adjustment layer Camera Shake. There's a really cool plugin. I could do it. We could do it without. Here, we'll go without the plugin first. But there's a cool plugin, and that's from Red Giant as well, that does is it utilities? Camera Shake, and it just instantly starts to. You can pick a different type of how much you want. So I'd probably do something kind of just. We want handheld, a slight handheld look, and you can. We don't want to scale the footage because we already have extra. So, let's see what this looks like already. We'll give it a couple of frames here. But you can, as easy as that, just put a camera shake to the whole thing. And this one's more, you know, you can pick an earthquake or something like that and really intensify how much you're going to do. Alright, let's see, 10 frames of that. Bad. I would almost take shake controls. I always take the, let's see. Not a big fan of the rotation on it, so I'll take rotation off. Amplitude X and Y. Lower that to, maybe we'll do 50 that way, 75 that way. And it gives you a really cool controls over everything. And that way you can get your camera shake in. I'm terrible at tracking stuff, so I tried to keep my camera as still as possible, and then we went back and we'll add the camera shake in. So now the other cool thing would be, I'm gonna add a null quick. All right. I'm gonna add a null. I'm gonna call that null another camera shake. And we're gonna put that down out of our way. I'm gonna attach this to it. And let's see, maybe what we'll do is we'll have is there like a big hit? Maybe we'll do a little bit of camera
Like
shake
maybe
on
when the guy lands and both the rock and him pop up, like after the rock kind of swallows the guy and lands. Oh. I don't know. Is that where you just added it?
No, I haven't done any of the like. I was just doing a little handheld shake to it.
Oh, gotcha.
Let's flip the message. Without plugins, I'd do for shake is a null object, parent, 3D camera, and wiggle expression. Yeah, I do a lot of wiggle. That I used to do the wiggle expression a lot. I'll show you that too. Yeah, I'll show you guys. That was a good one actually. Let me duplicate this camera shake quick. Turn that shaker off. And you can do position. I forget exactly. I haven't used it in so long. It was if you hold. Let me redo that. So if you hold Alt and hit position, you can add an expression to position or any other thing. So if you actually know how to program stuff, you can really get nuts with expressions in After Effects. I haven't done it in 10 years, so I'm really starting to lose touch with it. So I'm gonna do wiggle, and I always forget, maybe Flip the Master would know best, which one goes first. I don't know if it's time or amount first, so I'd do something about 10 and then maybe 24 for a second and see what happens. And let's see if you could see how that one wiggles. So that seems to be 24, might be the amount it's moving. So let me go with 5. So I think the second's the amount it's moving. The first is the amount of time it's moving during a second, I think. So we've got, I think you want to move it slower. So we can attach this to camera shake 2. And let's see how much we got going on here. Now this is without the camera shaker. This is just us using a null, which is a bit erratic. So I think we can change. Let me try. That's a lot, so we don't want that. So we want it almost down to. Let's see if that does. Yeah, that's a little bit more what we're looking for. Yeah, and you could get a wiggle like that. But I'm gonna use the one we had set up. Scale footage. Does it keep scaling the footage a little bit? I guess so. Alright, so we're gonna do a camera shake of our own added to this when the big guy hits the ground. Oh yeah, we could do some particles too, actually. I forgot about that. Is it when he hits the ground, you think?
I think, yeah, because it kind of knocks him
I'm gonna put this
up,
to
so it
quarter res too, because I cannot work in this project anymore.
What's that?
Put it on quarter res because I cannot. Oh, because he goes flying out. Okay.
I mean.
Yeah, that's a good spot. All right, so I'm gonna do the camera shake myself, just like we would in Flash. And I'm gonna hit it down. Oh, I don't have it attached. Let me attach this first.
Looks great. It does. It's looking real nice.
Down. It's kind of how we treat it in Flash. We do a lot of camera shakes on our own stuff in Flash a lot too, just kind of up and down. Just slowly kind of tail off. just always make sure you end where you started, so it's going to be loopable. Let's see what this would look like here. Might be too intense. So maybe what we'll do is we'll take it down a little bit. Dan, I often connect the wiggle expression to a slider so you can easily increase or decrease it. Oh, and then you, I guess, keyframe the slider. I have not touched sliders in ages. That's a good point. I don't even know if I would remember how to do that anymore. I'll have to get some of my old After Effects people into after we get Chet in here to do one. We're gonna have guest hosts.
Chet knows After Effects too.
Oh, does he?
That's right. Yeah, I remember.
God, he knows everything.
It's a crime that more people don't know how talented Chet is.
He really does. He can do music. He can do.
He's so like just humble about everything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, I did this After Effects thing. Anyway.
So I turned on frame. I guess it's frame blending or whatever it does. Motion blur, too, in the project. So that blurs when the camera moves a lot. So all right, let's see here. All right, that's looking pretty cool. One of our last things we always do. God, is that? What's the song playing now?
What was that?
Gosh, it was some good song out there on a motorcycle. Not as good as We Built This City.
That's the best.
All right, so since we're so orange, I'm gonna go with a bit of an orangish brownish. Let's see what happens here. We'll make it bigger than our comp. I'm gonna add an iris to it. Oh, this is not what we're trying to do. Just want to I want to make a new layer. Control Y. Gonna make a little iris to this. Feather this usually around, I don't know, somewhere around 300. We'll see. Hit subtract. Put this on a multiply. Let's see here, maybe.
Oh, nice. Found footage.
That's about no. We won't
I
go
want
that
to pitch
way.
that idea of found footage with cartoons in it.
We found these guys. Looks very Instagrammy. Looks like an Instagram filter.
When we start shooting it, we go where the audience is, not vice versa.
All right. So I am gonna mess around. Maybe we'll do a little bit of particle system quick. I'm trying to think where we could have some. What else I would think I'd like to do a little bit is maybe we'll go to the footage. I'm gonna use another adjustment layer. Effect. Let's try color correct. I just mess around. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm gonna do hue saturation. I want to get kind of a very bluish. Or you know what? Actually, we won't even do it that way. Let's do a solid. We'll just tint it a bit. We're gonna try to make the water a little bluer. Alrighty, where is that color. We'll bring it down over the footage. Let's see here. Let's mask that off. Feather that a bit more. And then we'll just kind of pick what looks the best. Let's see, soft light. Yeah, and it kind of darkens out the sky a bit, gets a little bit more of a forced perspective there. Alright, I'll put that at about 75%. Pure binder. How much I love that speaking on the phone sound effect you add to the characters have when they speak. How did you guys make it or just found it? Oh, I guess Pure Binder's talking about blood. I don't even know if that's what we're gonna do exactly. That was an old, what was it? I think it was a Hanna-Barbera effect.
Oh, really?
That we affected back and forth for male and female. I don't know. We're still throwing in the idea of voice acting it. I don't know if we'll be able to do the whole
Well,
thing.
it becomes an issue if it goes overseas. Hey, Joe Whimsy's here.
Joe Whimsy's here. We're doing After Effects today. Alright, so I blew baby blue. We added blue to the background to give it a little more of a atmosphere. You won't be able to see that though because my computer's ready to crash. Alright, so we were thinking about maybe putting some particles in. Trying to think where good. Alright, so I might put some particles inside this comp right now so we can work without it completely crashing on us. Alright, Aquaman Drew. Hi, anyone. Recommendations on animation software to use that isn't crazy expensive but also isn't super cheap and unprofessional. For instance, was eyeing up Moho Pro but not sure about it if there's options out there. We did not understand Moho Pro at all.
It's also what you're trying to your approach to animation is different. If you're looking for a Moho Pro because you're taking one image and manipulating it to get like a puppeting kind of thing, it's probably a good program. We approach things from a very traditional standpoint where we want to draw a lot of frames and stuff, so we'll just use a drawing program like a Flash or an Adobe Animate, which I recommend those two. They're super lo-fi in terms of what you need to know to learn them, and you can hop in and be animating right away.
Yeah, the Moho Pro didn't allow us to actually
great.
do in-betweening or really drawing much. It wasn't really set up well for drawing, which we saw afterwards. We bought it thinking, oh, it was on sale, we'll give it a try, but it really wasn't. It wasn't really built for drawing after all. Alright, so I'm going to add, where's the trap code? I'm going to do particles. And let's see here, we'll put this on a black background so we can see. So we're going to try a couple of different things. I haven't used particles in a bit. Give it a whirl. Now, particle system in particular is really awesome. It takes a while to kind of go through all. There's just hundreds and hundreds of different effects you can do to it inside of it. So you could be here for weeks learning just how to use the particle system. I don't know if we want to do. No, we are not big fans of Adobe's subscription plan, but
No.
we have to do it because we need to use it. So I mean, this.
We're forced to.
Yeah,
use
we're
it.
forced as a studio to do it.
It's not. I have a lot of complaints. I try to bite my tongue on it because I know a lot of people like it, but I don't.
I mean, I love After Effects and we love the old
no,
Flash,
we need
but
that. Oh, that's not
and
great.
Photoshop, but it's just we liked it when we owned it. I don't like the subscription plan at all. It's not even the paying it; it's more the fact that they keep changing it without any notification. All right, so let's see. We've got. Just thinking here. If I want to put, do we want to do some sand particles or should we just do dust? It's not very dusty, is it? Animation. So let's see. We'll start with. Might actually make another layer. Control Y. I'm gonna make this green. Haven't done this in a while either. Let's see if this works. So floor. We're gonna make this 3D. We're gonna rotate it this way. A little bit like that. We're gonna move it lower. Alright, so we're gonna put particles on, instead of air, we're gonna put it to bounce. We'll make the gravity. And now we have to pick, I forget where we do it, floor layer. We're gonna pick floor. And I'm gonna bring this up until I get the particles to start bouncing a little. It's about where it would be. So I'm gonna have the particles. I'm gonna go with a, let's see where it is, a sphere type. We're gonna stick with that. Continuous. I'm gonna go with a sphere, and then I can change the size of how big these sand particles are. So I'm gonna animate. I guess I'll just animate it in here. Sometimes we'll make a null and I express it to that, but we're gonna be quick and easy. So I'm gonna animate the position of the particle system. And actually, before I do that, we're gonna go, we can move it around. Actually, this is why I like to use, so let's do a null. Make a null quick, a 50, 50. That way it doesn't affect anything. So I'm gonna do the position of the null, and I'm gonna link the position of this to the position of the null. And then now wherever I move my null, the particle system will move to. And then I can just move it around easy. So that way I can have my animation of the null follow this. I'm gonna have some sand go up. Alright, so let's start this at 0. Also, let's put it at 100. Let me get the size right first. I love to do random size, so we're gonna have some different sizes of sand here. I'm gonna take the feather on that down so it kind of feels like sand, and we're gonna want probably like a darkish sand color. We might just want to do random from gradient. So let's go to gradient, color random. Where is the colors? Color over life. Alright, so we're not going to want any of these colors. We'll want one. So we'll do one that's like a dark brown. We'll do one that's very light. We'll try something that's a little more yellow. And then we have all our different pieces of sand. I'm going to make it a little bit... And I'm going to also do the size over life. I like to fade it out, so when it goes away, it goes away slowly. And then we're going to have... Actually, I like to draw on that too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it start from nothing. Start up and then go down, and we're going to smooth that out. Okay. Now let's see what happens here. That goes up. Actually, we're going to want to keep it. Let's go back to the preset. Let's go like that. We might actually want to make it a little more feathered. Give it that effect. All right. So we're going to start with 0 frames, 0 particles per second, and then we're going to quick snap to like 500. Get some of the effect of that going up. Then we're going to bring it back down to 0 again. And let's see what that looks like. And get a little sand that pops out. So it's got a little bit. We're going to want more gravity too. Let's see what we have for gravity. Let's put it at 150 and see what that does. We don't want it to hang too long. And we're also going to want... So we might not want this to hang so long. Then we still have, so all those particles are bouncing off the floor that we've created down here. Let's see if we can turn that on. And it's all bouncing off of that green floor we made and kind of sliding around. Now I don't know if I want this stuff going up this high, so we're gonna take that down a notch. And I'm also gonna arc that curve a little bit. And we can keyframe assistant, easy ease that. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Gives it a lot of sand going all over the place.
All right, I have to pay attention.
What's going on?
I was right.
I don't know what I'm doing either, but we got some.
That's $52 a month now. Is that what they're
The
raking us over for?
oh, for one thing. I'm not sure what.
Oh, just for one thing?
Oh well, I can't imagine. I mean, it was like. Oh, is it for just the? I don't know. I guess yeah, maybe for everything. I forget. I know they upped the Photoshop one just because that's what everybody was using.
I never heard of Rough Animator. Let's see what that is.
Make this a little bit more. So let's pick this. I'm gonna make the emitter a little more wider.
Oh, it's on iPad.
So let's see what that where that's hitting on the ground here. If it's about the same as where I put my floor. Cool. So we've got some sand. Might actually want to make the sand a little. It'll be about a size 5. Let's do 4. Okay. And I think we're going to probably do another one of these. So let's see. we'll move this as he jumps up.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll turn this back up real quick again. So we'll start around there, turn it up to about, I don't know, we'll try 300 particles per second. Get some more sand to follow that around, go back down to 0, let it die out, all those pieces can follow. See what that does. Now what we're going to want to do is mess with velocity for motion. Let's do a little less of that actually. Let's do 15. Kind of want to take the velocity in general down maybe, so it's not going wild all over the place. Alright, so that's a little too... a little too much. We'll move the velocity back up to about 75. And velocity from motion... So I'm going to make my sphere bigger again. This is very much... we want this spread out a little bit so it's not one little pocket of sand. We kind of want... yeah, there we go. That's better. Now what I want to take down, I think you can do it, I haven't done this in a while, is it's kind of... I like the bounce it has. I don't want it to slide very much, so I can go into bounce, and I'm going to turn this down to like, we'll say 25. Let's see if that does. That way the sand's not sliding all over the place. It kind of just sticks to where it is once it falls back down and hits. And I think I want... maybe I'll turn the gravity up a little more so that the stuff will fall a little faster. So it's not so light in the air. Alrighty, and then we'll do a cool one here too. Might make a whole new particle just for that hit. So I'm going to duplicate this one. Put that up top. We're gonna turn... if you hit E twice, I believe it brings up all of your expressions. I'm gonna delete this expression and just have this one sit still. So I'm going to position this one right about here, so when the rock hits... so we're going to turn all these particles off. We're going to go from 0 to 500 real hard. And we're going to make this real spread out. Let's see what happens here. So this is going to go to 500 and then back down to 0 again. Fairly quick. I'm just going to animate the position really quick here. Let's see what that does. And I'm going to even go up more than 500. Let's go 800. We'll make a big hit. And have a lot of little sand pop around. And we might actually just duplicate that one more time. And we will position this one over by the crab. maybe we'll do this one a little differently. Make this one a little taller. All right. Oh, that one is sliding all over the place, which means that one's too low to begin with. All right, so we'll make that one higher. All right. A whole bunch of sand everywhere.
That's cool.
Now, what is that going to look like on this? I have no idea.
Time will tell.
Yeah, we can probably even... Let's see.
Yeah, it looks like sand. I mean, just like sand. Nuts. Insane.
So this is the final thing here. Let's see what happens. Let's do a little bit of a RAM preview and see what would happen. We might be here until the next stream. I don't believe particles come with... Lauren asked. I don't think particles come with it. There is something called Particle World, which I never liked. No, I think it was like a one-time. I think Particles we got from Red Giant, which was the first thing we ever bought actually as a company, because I used it so much.
It felt expensive, but it paid for itself.
Yeah, we've used it so much. I used it for smoke all the time. Like today, we didn't really have a smoke effect, but I did it on the... I can open up the old Tiny Town we did as well and show you how I use particles for smoke as well. So that's what the sand looks like. That looks good over the 6 rendered frames.
The third of a second looks amazing. It is cool. Unless you would like to see the smoke.
Yeah, I'll open that one up in a second because I think we've got this one in a good place, and we'll make a render of this one.
And then we can show a progression there.
Yeah. Yeah, a little light on the
Awesome.
ground, really.
Crazy that it can do that.
Yeah, the sand gives it a little something else.
Nuts.
All right. Let me set this up to render while we are... Set that up quick to media encoder. I'm gonna leave the same compressions I always have. Keeps it pretty small. I'm gonna go to Tiny Town. Let's render this thing out. Tiny Town to final. Perfect. So that's the cool thing about media encoder now. That can get started. Hopefully. I can save this. And I'm pretty sure I can open up another project. I'm gonna make sure this gets started first. Sometime today. Alright, so I'm gonna try to find the old one we did, open project. Tiny Town AE. Let's open up this one. Oh, that was just... Oh, this was our paper test. This is how you make a... Make it look like a pencil test. Yeah, we did a lot of After Effects stuff.
We reverse engineered that one.
As you can see, the pencil test... Where is the pencil test here? Let's go.
So we're going to make that...
Test.
Then make a colored version, then add the background and for progression video, I think.
You could see in here, this we just took the line out with a sneaky little cheat. I just used a color key to get rid of the colors. All right, so let me show you the smoke stuff we did on the other one. because this is the other After Effects project for the caterpillar one that we did. And you can see we have a little bit of a smoke effect covering up the caterpillar, which I have no idea because I work so sloppy. I believe it's these layers. Let's turn just those on for a second. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So these are just the particles, same particle system. And I guess we didn't even add any effects to it. It's just right where it is. And
Yeah,
this is the cool
these are
thing.
placed.
Yeah. Now the cool thing about this, I'll turn, let's see which one, we just need one. We'll do that one. It's the same particle system I was using. This time I have physics set to air instead of bounce because I don't want it to bounce or do anything. I just want air. So we have the gravity turned off, but the cool thing is in the air you can actually change the wind. So I can make it go, you know, super far by turning the wind up a lot, so it's gonna move it real fast. So that we use that a lot for, like, we did a horse running one time on like a desert that we had to add particles to. And all that this really is the particle type. You can change all the different options, which are really cool. So it could just be spheres.
What is
Let's see here.
what does Cody want? Hey, hey. What does he want? What you want, Cody?
Oh, Portal Tamers is here. That's how it was from. We met her at Too Many Games.
Oh yeah, no. That Portal Tamers, you should put your game or any footage of it, and everyone on this should know that she's done this all by herself. This game, a 3D game that's way beyond our game with from what I can tell, zero bugs, Cody. So maybe you should talk to her. No, she should show. You should show a YouTube video or give some information on people who could where you could find your game, Portal Tamers. She made a game by herself, so there's zero excuses. when someone can do it on their own, there's no excuses.
You're asking the wrong people about Discord. We're just the artists. We have no idea. Future Man would know. He's the nerd. We just draw stuff. And today we're actually not even doing that. We're just doing some After Effects compositing.
I've done client work, so that's why I had to angle it over here.
So I am. Maybe I'll just make a new particle quick altogether. All right, and I'll show Lauren real quick just the particle system. So this is trap code particular. Now we want to make smoke here.
Tell our family that.
So I'm gonna make smoke. So I'm gonna pick here. I'm gonna pick cloudlet, and it gives it this shape. Then you can change the life random. I always set to 100. You can change the size of it all, and it gives it more of that smoke. But you also want to change the size random so not everything's exactly the same. And you want to put the feather all the
new
way up.
challenger. Oh, that's cool. Let me click on this.
Here is this the.
And new challenger, this is the festival you run, correct?
And I'm going to set the opacity to, we'll say somewhere about 10%. Let's see. And just like that, we've got a pretty cool smoke effect within a couple of
Very
seconds.
cool. I like the indie game scene. It's just so much better than animation. It's so much better. It's embarrassing.
And then we can move this particle system around. So let's move that quick. Position this. And just like that, we can have smoke moving around. Which it's probably our #1 used thing in After Effects is the particle system. We used a lot. Which I guess we won't be using on Blood. We'll be using, hopefully, the Unity stuff if we ever do have some.
I wonder, yeah, like the lighting and stuff. I wonder if it's
All right, let's close this one.
I'm interested to see what happens. It has to be
Open recent.
so subtle.
I'm not going to save that one. All right, I think we've got... I'm going to let this one keep rendering. We got this in a good place for just
So we'll
hour
probably
and 40 minutes of...
We'll probably put that on Twitter today if it goes up today. Are you?
Yeah, it's rendering now. We'll probably throw that up. If you guys have any After Effects questions that I might be able to answer, I don't do too much crazy stuff, but...
this is After Effects, where we take some animation we did from Flash or Adobe Animate, and then Bob exports it and puts it into here to kind of take it away from Flash to make it look more authentic as an animation. I wonder if we should do if we do show the final thing, loop it a couple times, then show the progression of it.
Or we could just put... I think this... I have it set... Actually, I can show them what I did, too, for that. I made the background loop, which is a sneaky little cheat I did.
Yeah,
it's really nothing...
For the water?
Nothing fantastic at all. So what I did is I duplicated the footage.
What is that?
Are you crashing? I don't... You know what? That's the one thing that doesn't... Nowhere near as much as Adobe Animate crashes. It crashed on me 4 times yesterday. Adobe Animate. And this has... I don't use After Effects as much in a day. I'm sure it probably would crash that much too. We actually... I don't know if you're using PC or Windows or Mac either.
Is the new one any better?
I don't know. I've had very little trouble on the PC since it the last couple of years. So I just set a marker, which is the star button sets a marker. So that's the very first frame. And then what I did was move it all the way to the end, just cropped it off here, and slowly turned up the opacity. So I turned the opacity down from 0, and then made sure it got to 100% right before, and kind of just restarted the first frame over again. So it's going to be a loopable background. And then that way it loops the whole time.
I don't know. Is it a computer thing you think that makes it crash? Like, is it a RAM
I don't know.
issue, perhaps?
I don't know what... If certain plugins have crashed me before, but I haven't had too much.
Yeah, I don't know what makes things...
We've got a pretty souped up...
I don't know what makes Adobe Animate crash. I can't figure that out.
No, I don't know if it's the Cintiq that always makes the screen go black. I mean, the screen went black on me 4 times yesterday, and the program crashed on me twice. So I guess you could call that 6 crashes.
You're being generous with 4.
So that's a loopable background we made.
6 times, 1 file. Roughly 3 megs big.
I mean, and
just unacceptable when you really boil it down to...
we can't cry about it anymore. We just have to...
Oh, no.
We just have to sit back down and draw it faster.
I finished crying in the bathroom about it.
So I guess that's a fairly good place. We'll post this when it's all said and done.
When it's on Twitter and Instagram, give it a like and a share and let us know that you watched it.
Yeah, this was a fun little After Effects special. I mean, I hope it was helpful to some people. It was just kind of a look into how we treat every single project almost.
I also want to get Cody in on this where
he
shows the programming aspect.
And I think tomorrow, are you going to do... I think tomorrow we'll get back to doing we'll have a 2-hour regular blood.
Yeah, it's going to be that football character again, or at least the little guys that he spawns. I'm going to do a lot of those animations. So, we'll be back to drawing blood tomorrow.
We don't stream daily. We usually only do Fridays, but today we did an extra After Effects special one.
Yeah, Fridays 2 to 4 Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, it's usually about blood, but this case we wanted to get more in depth on our process. Since blood is just mostly animation, this is more indicative of what all their other animations are.
And then what would we call this live? This is like mixed media. We took some live action and then we kind of tried to mix it together of what.
It's a good way to get rid of backgrounds.
Yeah, it's a good way to not have to spend a whole day drawing backgrounds.
No,
then you just spend a whole day compositing instead.
And I always like the really cartoony guys on live action stuff. It's always been fun.
So
we can loop this. That's nice.
This will be a loopable 6-second thing, I think, and hopefully.
Yeah, we'll post this on YouTube too.
Yeah. Portal. Do you do the 3D animation on the?
She does it all.
The game. My gosh.
I don't know how people even wrap their mind around 3D. And
I've done a little bit.
I have no idea. Like that seems crazy to me.
So.
Though programming 2D seems.
Programming and anything is not our.
Turning on my computer is a mystery. Oh yeah, you posted your stuff, Portal Tamers, right? Because everyone should really. She's doing this completely on her own. It's crazy. Like to make a game takes forever, and then to do it on your own is.
And if she's like us and has kids too, right? That's not easy. Or a kid.
No, it's not. We have to,
kids make it a lot harder than it already is. That's why we go to the office. All right, guys. So we'll see you guys. Hopefully tomorrow. Join us for our usual one, and we'll get back to drawing. We'll be back in the old Flash.
Yeah,
Flash MX.
Flash MX, Soul Blood. Me doing the same thing.
Oh, she has 2. I'll stay home.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Oh boy.
2 is the magic number. That's what we've got. We all have that.
Right, Cody?
Cody's got 3.
Sucker.
And thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll post this up pretty soon on Twitter once it's all said and done.
Twitter and Instagram and all those Facebook things, whatever, social media things.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.